There she goes. Bye bye baby, bye bye. Bye bye. Nothing wrong with that sensor. To put this back in, downwards, nestle it at the back, done. Easy. Hello, Ben Johnson here. When I'm not tinkering around with classics like this, I'm generally messing around with other stuff. And what I've got now is an SMG gearbox that's not playing ball. And what you're going to learn from this video is how to diagnose it and then how to actually get the car back on the road at minimum cost without having to replace a whole bunch of components. So watch along in this video and hopefully you'll find out and you'll learn how to diagnose Hall sensors, what are inside the gearbox and all that type of business. So I think you're going to enjoy it. So obviously someone's had it out before. Release bearing seems, once there's pressure on it, it seems quite okay. I think someone's put a new dual mash flywheel in this. So basically I'm almost out the old SMG, but I'm going to pull the oxygen sensors off because as you can see, can't get the bell housing past here, past the cats. I can get them past the cats, but they're going to foul on there.
Well, there she is on the bench, much easier now to take a good overall view of this transmission. As you remember from the previous video, shift sensor 1 is our faulty sensor, which we will be replacing. Sensor 2, we will change because it makes good practice while the box is out. Incidentally, the gearbox does not need to be removed to do this job, however, I opted to remove it purely and simply because I wanted to check what the previous repair centre had been doing to the gearbox. What we will do now is we will take the sensor out and bench test it and you can see exactly what is wrong with it.
So it looks like there's a break in the wiring of the old sensor. If I just lift it, it starts to go haywire and it's not the connectors at the end. I just need to twist it in the middle. And there was a zip tie on this holding it together. And of course, it's always very, I mean, my connections aren't the best, but it's always useful to find the problem. You feel a lot more confident. You see, it's not good really, a little bit of an issue on that really. I think the issue might be some problem with the grounding inside the sensor. Oh, there, it's actually at the end there.
And here is a reason why the classic wiggle test is still the preferred method amongst fault finders on our 645 with the SMG transmission that was condemned. All it is not a bad sensor, but the sensor itself, where the wiring harness is bonded into the sensor body, is broken internally. Too difficult to repair and too time consuming. So we need to change the sensor. This is a 4 volt or 4.13 volt output on the middle yellow wire because we have a ground and a 5 volt power supply powered via my test rig.
It actually works. The sensor does work in that sense. It works perfectly, but there is a small break in a wire somewhere. Because just by doing that with my fingers, it shouldn't be doing that, should it? It's just losing voltage. Look, side there, it's probably just been stressed and broken. In fact, I can actually see the ground is sort of, actually you can actually see it there. Yeah, so it's a problem with the ground actually. And here we have the sensor, shift sensor that I've changed. If you look at the meter, it's really bizarre. It acts like a variable resistor, which you can't do that because it's a Hall sensor. It's not a variable resistor. Without power, without 5 volts on the ground, it will not work. However, this one is acting really weird. So everyone knows you cannot check a Hall sensor using a resistance measurement, and you can even blow up the chip, although it's very unlikely with such a low millivoltage measurement on this. So what you want to see, this is one type of sensor for this SMG transmission I'm working on. 700 milliohms more or less. It should not move because it is not a variable resistor. This one is a pretty good sensor and we're okay with that. All we have is the pins 1 and pin 2. So basically the power supply and the signal. What I'm doing is I'm just basically measuring resistance across those and nothing changes. So that's a good one. So I've got the old resistance measurement set up, which you should never ever do on a Hall circuit, but this is the old sensor and this is the one I suspected as being faulty, and right away you can see a really weird, it's kind of losing there's a break there. Now the voltage once picked that up, but now it doesn't. So I thought switch a resistance measurement, and what this is actually doing, which is really queer, it's acting like a variable resistor because the Hall chip is, well, something's broken in this one. This is the one we just had voltage working, which was intermittent. So there is a problem with that. It's twittering like crazy, and it's broken wire on the end there. That's the issue with it. Now you can get that with resistance measurement. You should never use resistance on a Hall circuit, but this is the old sensor, and I want to diagnose it before I build the transmission back up into the vehicle. But if you watch this, it shouldn't really do that. It should stay, it's like working like a variable resistor, and it shouldn't do that, should it? So it's absolutely goosed, but it's weird how we're working with voltage. 700 kiloohms, that's it, that's all you should see. It's 700 kiloohms. Obviously, there's a broken wire. That's what it should read at all times. And as you can see, with the wire pulled tight against my finger, now it doesn't act like a variable resistor. Oh, queer, what a queer system that is. It's weird, right? Right hand is pulling the cable tight. I let go. It acts like a variable resistor again. Weird.
Well, the moment we've all been waiting for, a nice brand new sensor 2 and sensor 1. This is the new version of our dodgy sensor. This should get our SMG gearbox back on the road, and this car should be tearing down the motorway again once the snow disappears from our horrendously snowed in landscape.
We've got the old gimbal out again, so these sensors that are a bit awkward, you have to kind of put them in. How can I say? Let's zoom in a bit. Kind of got to go in like that, behind the selector shaft. Like that. Carefully you grease the O-ring and you just turn them like that, and that's it, it's kind of in that. And then the same with the other one, it's a bit different. And then we just whack some screws in, and then we're done. But I'm still dubious. I don't think this is going to fix the problem, because although that sensor was weird, and I think there is an intermittent brake on it, you would think it would at least have worked some of the time. Who knows? Anyway, we'll do the other one now and we'll see what happens. Swap these round now, and now you can see there's a nice loop on there, and it's less likely to be pulled. And I think I've done a lot of these over the last sort of 10 years or so, and it's usually because of that. I don't know if it's like that from the factory or if people take the gearbox out and then they change it round, but anyway, I've swapped them round. There's plenty of slack. I've added that on. Never usually has that in, normally just has this one. But that way I don't need to zip tie it. What's the point? That's what's actually probably caused half the problems. Got a nice cable clamp, it's nice and loose, it's not going to chafe. Now we're ready to put this back in the car. They all start crying now because they don't like all this noise, but I don't really care. Right, shift in there, second, first, neutral. Reverse, that's what was stuck in reverse when it came in. Neutral. Well, it works, doesn't it? So it's back together now, the old SMG 645, it's a V8. Bad weather out there, I'm not going to be able to do much like skanking because it's proper slippy. So it's priming the pump every time I open the door, that's good. I managed to get rid of all them horrible fault codes which I've gone through. And I'm ahead today, we break up tomorrow for Christmas, so I'm quite happy about that. This time last year I was at the side of an M5 or an M4, I can't remember. After I've done the timing chain, big job. This year a bit easier. So what we'll do now, we'll try and start it. I'll give you a tour underneath what I've done. The place where they'd left all the bolts loose. Some missing out the gearbox completely. All sorts of stuff bloody gone wrong with it. I don't know why the hell these car places take these bloody cars to these stupid garages. I've no idea. Probably to save money. In the end it costs some more money because the gearbox has been took out. They've changed the clutch and flywheel and they've buggered everything up basically. The sensor, known fault, but if they'd have known that and they knew what they were doing, I'm pretty sure it had that fault code at the time, and I think they've took the clutch and
flywheel off and replaced it because they thought that was the reason why the car was stuck in reverse, and that weren't the reason. So they've thrown it back together rough and probably give up and, oh, we don't know what's wrong with it, kind of. Well, as you saw from the video, it's only a sensor, it's not rocket science to test, is it? So we're all looking quite tasty now in that sense. I put some nice new nuts on that exhaust because very smooth, isn't it? Yeah, just these panels missing underneath, but we'll soon sort that out. Bloody lovely smooth engine that, isn't it? Wow. It's pretty much all back together quite nice. There's our sensor wiring there. Need to clip that in, that's not quite in proper, is it? I need to put that on there, I think. Or maybe not, actually. No, actually, I don't know. Maybe. Need to put that in now a bit better, I think. I'll do that in a minute. I always have a quick check before I let it go out. And the bolts are all painted up, wiring's okay. So that's an SMG. You need a motor there, the accumulator there pumping. There's the pump, that's the main pump, that's the reservoir. That's a pressure accumulator with nitrogen on it. So yeah, there's lots of cool stuff about these. Sounds good, doesn't it? It's not noisy, it's not banging. Yeah, let's road test it. It's pretty weather so bad, I'm in third gear. Second gear. I'm not going to go so far because there's no fuel in it. You get onto the main road now and get out of here now. We'll get some speed up. Sticking to the speed limit, of course, being expensive Finland, speeding fast. Very, very slippy. There's just no grip. I actually fell over today. I fell over in the snow, banged my bum and my shoulder. It's killing me. And even with studded tyres, you just can't go anywhere. Just things are sideways without even trying. Fifth gear. It's a V8 will go in sixth gear at 30 mile an hour. This not. She goes. Bye bye, baby, bye bye. Bye bye.